This right here is the new PlayStation 5 Pro. Maybe you're upgrading from a standard PS5, maybe it's your first PS5, or maybe you're thinking of getting one soon. I'm gonna go over the entire setup process, tips and tricks, and really show you how to get the most out of your PS5 Pro. This is what you get in the box. The console with 2TB internal drive, all the wires, power cable, USB-C cable, and a HDMI 2.1 cable, DualSense PS5 controller, and the user manuals, and some tiny horizontal feet, which you can install if you're gonna have this set horizontally, but it does this, so it's not stable. You can also spend an extra $30 and buy a vertical stand, or just have it sitting vertically without a stand at all. Plug in the HDMI cable, the power cables on the back, hook it up to your display. Let's turn it on. And that animation, you're gonna see just the one time. Pair your DualSense controller. You can connect it using the provided USB-C cable. Select your language, set up your Wi-Fi. Here you can adjust the display area and you go through these HDR setting adjustments based on your display. You can choose your power options. I suggest just going with the optimized experience. That'll take advantage of all the neat features like automatic updates. You can remote play using your PlayStation Portal and a bunch of other things. You can also go with the low power use, but that basically turns everything off. Or you can customize this as well. Now the console is going to update. It might restart a few times. In the meantime, you can go to the PlayStation website and create your PlayStation account if you don't have one already. Once the console updates, you then need to update the DualSense controller. And once all those updates are done, you can log into your PlayStation account. Right here, you can choose if this is going to be your main console where you enable console sharing. That'll let you play all your digital games offline. It'll also let other users on that PS5 Pro play your collection. Keep in mind, you can only do this for one PS5 console and one PS4 console per account. At this point, you can transfer your data from your old PS4 or PS5 if you want, or just skip this part. Setup complete, and here's the usual PS5 dashboard. The Pro still does come with Astro's Playroom installed, but maybe they should have upgraded you to the new Astrobot. Get familiar with the dashboard, the PlayStation Store where you can browse and buy new games. You can also see a list of the PS5 Pro enhanced games. For that, go over to browse and then filter supported feature and PS5 Pro enhanced. This right here is the current list and it should grow over the next few months. On the main dashboard, you can also scroll all the way to the right and see your installed games. You can also go over to your collection and really see your entire collection that's connected or linked to your PlayStation account. If you're still on the fence about the Pro console versus the old one, here's a quick summary of what that extra $250 gets you. There's now of course 2 terabytes of storage instead of 1 terabyte. The fat launch edition console had even less at 820 gigabytes. Here's what that means in terms of games. On my 1 terabyte Slim, there's 848 gigabytes of usable space. I was able to install 12 games. All of them are shown and listed here. This drive does fill up really fast and some PS5 games are just massive in size. The 2 terabyte Pro has 1.87 gigabytes of usable space and that made quite a bit of difference. I was able to install some really popular games. I installed the same 12 that I had on the Slim plus another 12. And most of those additional 12 are massive games with sizes around 100 gigabytes. For me, that extra 1 terabyte of usable space really gives you a lot of breathing room and less storage anxiety to manage it. For 80% of gamers, 2 terabyte and 24 games installed at the same time is good enough. All of these are PS5 games. But remember, if you want to play PS4 games, you can also connect the external USB-C drive for additional storage. PS5 Pro also brings with it improved visuals, improvements to the performance and the FPS as well. The Pro uses PSSR upscaling to enhance the visual quality. Games do look sharper on the Pro, but the differences aren't groundbreaking. I personally think for most people, the regular console is good enough. Most games also get improvements in frame rate. Dragon's Dogma is a good example. It gets you anywhere between 10 to 15 and even as high as 20 FPS higher. Last of Us Part 2 is another good example where the PS5 Pro gets you 60 FPS in that new Pro mode, while still visually looking the same as a 30 FPS fidelity mode on the standard console. There's a lot of detailed game comparisons on my channel, so check those out if you're interested in seeing more. Few other things to mention here. You can see right here how much the Pro weighs compared to the Slim as well as the regular launch edition console, and this is of course all three with the disk drive. The Pro is actually quite small compared to the original console and much easier to carry around. There's also an option here to enhance PS4 games. I personally haven't tested or played around with it much, but I doubt it's gonna make that big of a difference. If you've made your final decision and got the Pro, here's some upgrades you can do to it. The number one and first thing you might do is get that $80 disk drive. The Pro uses the exact same disk drive and bottom plates as the Slim, so it's really the same drive, exact same installation process. Power off your console, remove this bottom plate right here, just lift it up and away. You can install the disk drive really easily. Now you have to put on that new faceplate that came with the drive and just power on the console, which prompts you to this screen, and you can register that drive to your console, and that's really it. Simple install. Keep in mind the top faceplates on the Pro are different than the Slim. They're actually a bit larger, and these clips are in different locations. So if you want to pimp out your PS5 Pro with a different color, you're really gonna be able to only do that with the bottom plates. Another upgrade you can do is install an internal SSD if you're running out of storage space. You can get a drive anywhere from 512 gigabytes all the way up to 8 terabytes. Installation is simple, kind of the same thing as the PS5 Slim. Remove this top plate right here. Here's a slot to install that SSD. Install it, and as soon as you boot up the console, it should recognize the SSD. Just make sure you get an SSD that's compatible with the PS5, and I'll leave some links to ones in the description. So that's what you need to do to get the most out of your PS5 Pro. I think the price is high at $700. Other than that price though, it is a good console. It clearly gives you some benefits compared to the regular PS5. But end of the day, I mean, that regular PS5 I think is good enough and does most things just as well as the Pro. But if you like having, that best thing available, the most powerful version of everything, then you don't care about the extra price, then you made the right choice with getting the Pro.